Hello, 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 amigas, and welcome to Amiga Handle Your Shit podcast. I just got back from a fabulous women's empowerment event called Femme 2025, and it was off the chain. I wanted to just come on very quickly and let you all know how important it is to be in these settings and to really have space with these amazing, beautiful women and women who have done such fantastic, trailblazing goals and missions, and so much so that they are worldly recognized. And I'm just excited that I had the opportunity to be there and congregate with all of them. And then what was even more astonishing for me was that interconnectedness. It wasn't like they were held to this higher standard where they were untouchable. Quite the contrary. They were so approachable. And it allowed me to really take stock of how important it is to surround yourself with these high-powered amigas. They were all from diverse backgrounds. And I can honestly say that I learned a thing or two. And, in every situation, I try to hone into what their message is. And I take notes. I'm a note taker. Like, I'm old school. I like to write it down. I like to digest it and process it, and hopefully use that in my toolkit. I add to my toolkit all these amazing messages, and not only that, I get to empower my community with some of their messages. Obviously, I'm going to tailor it in a way that is more my voice, and then also the way I received it, because I'm sure somebody else must have received it differently. So I just want to give a rundown of certain impactful, amazing statements that were made, and I think words to live by. And what I wanted also to share is that there were, in my purview, in my understanding of it all, there were specific individuals that thought were so powerful, and their message, I believe, will stand the test of time. So I wanted to really highlight Dr. Antonia Novello, who was the former U.S. Surgeon General. I mean, come on. Former U.S. Surgeon General. A Latina, the only Latina to have this post. And her message was, bar none, in my honest opinion, the best. I had an amazing conversation with her afterwards. And then also, while she was on stage, she just kept giving us one after another types of messages, singers, if you will. And I recorded the whole interview because I thought, oh my God, this woman is insane. Not in the bad way, but in a spectacular way. And because she is older, she has a wealth of experience with leaders that I mean, to be truthfully, are we ever going to get to meet those leaders? Such as Margaret Thatcher. I mean, come on. So one of the things that she said, among so many, but the one that really, I believe, really hits home for many of the amigas, because I have many conversations about them. And it's so interesting because in the Latino community, this resonates with everyone. And so what is that? She said, there is a disease of pleasing. The disease of pleasing. I mean, that just hit home because, especially in our community, this is a disease that we please everybody else. And guess what happens to us? And I always say, Amigas, there is the disease of pleasing, and we need to stop that. It's like a pandemic. This pleasing is just way over the top. So let's start by not pleasing others. In fact, let's just please ourselves first. I mean, obviously you want to help everybody else, but I mean, pleasing, when she said that, I thought, you are right, doctor. You are absolutely right that there is this disease, especially in our community with mujeres, amigas, about we're constantly putting other people first. And while sometimes it's okay, it tends to be all the time. So let's stop this disease. Párale. So another trailblazer that really had an impact with me was Vivica Fox. Remember her? I mean, she's still relevant today. Has amazing movies, and she's had a long trajectory and career. And there are a couple of things that she said that really helped me understand who she is and how her work really is a reflection of who she is. And she said that accountability is her favorite word. And I thought, wow, I never thought of that to be a favorite word of mine, but it's true, because when you are held accountable and when you hold yourself accountable, it should be your favorite word, because when we live in that vibration, we get to do our very best. We get to highlight our gifts and our talents. So that was was really a wonderful prophetic message, in my opinion. And then she also said, yes, that was like her key to longevity. And then she said that that don't have a moment, have a career. I was like, whoa, that is super powerful, because moments are fleeting. They are. You're here today and gone tomorrow. Moments are fleeting. So don't have a moment, have a career, is exactly how she said it. And I thought, a career will continue to happen, but a moment is just fleeting. It just dust to the wind, if you think about it. So that was very powerful, and also that that to do the work means to be successful. So doing the work will lead to success. That's another thing she said. So, I mean, I was just note-taking, because I think it's super important to, when you attend these events, to actually pay attention, write it out, and reflect on it. And so I've been really seriously reflecting on all these things. And then also, there's a woman that wrote a book. Her name is Julia Borstein, who you might have seen her in the news, who is, I mean, she has a project, I think, with, I don't know if it was CNN, I think so, on trailblazing, and I thought, wow, this woman is incredible as well. She is, I believe, if I'm not confused or mistaken, she's been in the news, and I've seen her before, actually. Very powerful woman who now wrote a book on leadership. And I thought, this is fantastic for me, someone who loves to lead. And she believes that the way to go in leadership is communal leadership. So, communal leadership instead of an isolated, just I'm going to be the leader and I'm going to do it through the egoistic egoistic manner. It's more of a communal, and she really thrives in that communal leadership. She also said that numbers tell a story, and she addressed that when she was talking about statistics and the power of owning the data. and how that is important, because that will allow us to, when you have the data to support the contention that is being stated, there's no if, ands, or buts. 2 + 2 = 4. Math is math. There's no debate about that. So anyhow, I thought that was very important. I thought that was a way that we should lead, also in terms of community, and that the numbers always tell the story and say the truth, right? It really does. If your analytics are deficient, then that means that there's a situation that you need to not ignore, but in fact address. And it might mean that you might change the narrative of, like, for instance, like me, my podcast. So that led me to really hone into my analytics and my data with my business and podcasting. And I thought, wow, nowadays there is more in-person live podcasting, and it seems to be the way to go. And so, amigas, as of in the next week or two, you will have a podcast from me that will be live. And I will tell you later about who my guest, but for right now, I'm just going to give you a sneak peek that it is in a live studio, and I loved it, and my guests loved it, and we'll see what the numbers say, because the numbers tell a story. So, amigas, with those statements, those mindset tools, I really want to leave you with those things, and know that numbers tell you a story, that leadership ought to be communal, and that we get to stop the disease of pleasing, and that don't have a moment, have a career. So those are my tips, those not my personal tips, but what I held as super important in this conference at the Femme 2025. So I encourage you to join us next year at the Femme. And that also just inspired me to come back and do events again. So happy International Women's Month. And I leave you with parting words that just keep going and listen and pay attention to your numbers. Because if you need to change, right now is the time. It's the beginning of the year. And before it becomes half year, it's time to change, right? So with that in mind, amigas, I'm signing off and wishing you a fabulous, fabulous day.